times must I tell you? You must never put your life on the line for me.
Mother has always had a fascination for Lord Mortimer, but has never wanted to tell me why.
We are doing our utmost to find your mother as quickly as possible.
Without your mother, hundreds of men of the cloth would have gone to the guillotine.
All I can tell you is I'm looking for my sister.
Do you believe your mother capable of torturing a child?
An agreement for cannons. Lord Mortimer assured me that you are to take over the project on behalf of your mother.
Johann Christoph von Wollner, Minister of Religious Affairs, and Jacques Peroux, French Revolutionary Tribunal Judge. You will find that Lord Mortimer is not what one would call conventional, Monsieur de Richet. Monsieur de Richet, I am arresting you for the murder of Elizabeth Adams.
Welcome back to another session of the Council. A quick recap for the last couple parts. Oh, I can equip 2 manuscripts? Did I? No, I guess I can just start equipping 2 now. Wicked. I will start. Okay, what am I close on? Conviction. Yeah, okay, let's take that one. Get a free conviction, and... Oh, equipping it, just give it to me for free. Do I have that talent? I'm not sure. Oh well. And politics, erudition, manipulation. I do want to get these 2 going. I think I need occultism up for one of these talents. Manipulation. I do need to get them both up. And they're both at the same level. We'll start with the prince. Ooh, quite the office.
Is there nothing you want to say, Louis?
It wasn't me. I didn't kill her.
I'd much rather have met you under different circumstances.
Lord Mortimer, believe me, I'm very conscious of the gravity of the situation. Everything seems to point to me as the one who killed Elizabeth, but I swear I am innocent.
Out of respect for your mother, rest assured that I do want to believe you.
And all I want is to be able to prove it to you. When do we start?
We already have. Tell me, Louis, how do you feel?
Probably like shit. I don't know about your immunity. Can I look? Yes, I can. Mortimer. I know you're immune to conviction, so good not to use that. I think I'm gonna go with... Okay, I'm gonna pop one of these. Didn't help me at all. Excellent.
I feel a bit disoriented.
Mm-hmm. That's only normal in your situation. You can hardly say you've been left unscathed lately. First, the disappearance of your mother, and now, this murder.
Where are you going with this, my lord?
Sarah's behavior grew odd before her disappearance. Her attitude changed. She became prey to outbursts of violence and a number of temporary absences. I'm just trying to make sure that you don't go getting lost like your mother did.
You're not suggesting that I might have killed Elizabeth and that I don't remember, are you?
I don't know, Louis. It's just that what with your mother and now you, it's rather a lot. The more I take stock of the situation, the more I'm under the impression that you've been set up. But before going any further, I must inform you that Sir Gregory is about to arrive. He is coming to question you about the murder of poor Elizabeth, whom he was very fond of. He is quite determined to find the culprit, whomever they may be. So, convince him of your innocence. Then we can continue this conversation.
Deal.
William, I would like to see you a moment before we begin. In private.
Let's step outside a moment. Louis, this will only take a few moments.
Thank you, good sir. I like his jacket. Oh, that feels like such an obvious trap. Oh,
Better not
wait.
make myself look more suspicious than I already do.
Ooh, Jacques Perou's gonna preside this tribunal, I'm guessing.
Good evening, Monsieur de Richet.
Likewise, Sir Gregory.
Well then, let us begin. Monsieur de Richet, you were found standing over Miss Adams' body. We must shed some light on your responsibility in this tragedy. We shall then decide on your fate. But you must know that if you do not convince us of your innocence, it will cost you dearly. Now you are going to tell us everything that happened last night, without leaving any detail out. First things first, how did your evening begin?
Let's see, it was with Emily.
I was in the corridor and I was about to go to bed. Elizabeth appeared as if from nowhere and rushed toward me. She took me by the arm and led me to her room.
You say she led you? All right, we'll accept that. Continue.
We were heading for our rooms when Elizabeth burst into the corridor, barely dressed. She was panic-stricken and insisted on speaking to me. So I found myself in Elizabeth's room. We sat down together. She insisted we have a drink or she would refuse to confide in me.
What exactly did she want to speak about at such a late hour?
Better child. We'll just stick with this.
She was panicked. She claimed she had just seen my mother on the island.
Did she say where she saw her?
I'm not sure, but I think she spoke of a cave.
A cave? Strange.
Oh, manipulation is
Let us
paying
continue.
off.
And what happened next?
Then she told me she had poured laudanum in my glass. The next minute I was on the floor. When I woke up, she was lying in a pool of blood.
That is all you have to say? You expect us to believe that you have no idea what happened to her?
Yes, because I'm telling you the truth.
How can you possibly expect us to believe you?
Gregory, we must consider every possibility.
Quick,
Louis,
check out the glass
do
for
you have
laudanum.
any idea who could have done it?
Well, I could say it was Mother. That's what she was afraid of. I honestly have no idea. It's not going to be Washington. Not a good reason for it to be. I don't want to incriminate myself. I think my mother's really the only answer here. I mean, I don't know. I've got a blunder. I can
Look,
try.
frankly, it's beyond me. I just don't know.
Monsieur de Richet, don't you think it would be in your interest to help
Yep.
us find another suspect?
Figured as much.
Well, even if I can't believe for a single instant that my mother could have murdered someone in that manner, she might have wanted to stop Elizabeth from speaking about their mutual past. And things might have turned nasty.
It is indeed a possibility.
I would like to thank you for helping us shed light on what happened last night. To be honest, you are not the only suspect. I'm prepared to believe you were drugged. Our poor Elizabeth hid the stuff everywhere, and I could smell laudanum on you 3 yards away.
So you knew it wasn't me from the start?
We weren't sure. Louis, I am sorry, but everything points in the same direction. I only know one person on this island who might have had a big enough grudge against Elizabeth, who has no alibi, and whose behavior is, well, suspect. Not to mention dangerous.
Tell me what happened before my arrival. I think I've been patient enough.
You don't need us for any of this. So come along, Monsieur Peru. We are leaving.
Right. It's time we spoke about your mother, Louis.
She isn't really missing, is she?
She isn't missing, you know.
What? What do you mean?
My mother has left traces in every nook and cranny of your island, my lord. She's definitely here. Now, what worries me most is why she doesn't show herself.
That doesn't make me feel any better, Louis.
What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities, and yours, in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain by working together.
You mean the canon deal with Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him because I have a firm conviction that he can go far.
We shall see. However, there's one thing that surprises me.
Yeah, this one.
Did my mother intend to finance a war? I'm not sure that I follow.
No, your mother's aim was not so much to partake in a war, but rather to make Monsieur Bonaparte accountable. France is in turmoil, and having support of a military man can often come in handy, Louis. You'll see. Once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play, and I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
I see.
Indeed, if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the conference, would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take her seat.
Why not? We shall see.
Ah, thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother informed of what is said. There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
If only my mother had trusted me, but she remained very mysterious. I'd have been delighted to answer your question.
Is this usual for her?
Yes.
As head of the Order, secrets are her bread and butter, as you can imagine. That said, it's the first time she hasn't let me in on the reason for her trip. And it intrigues me, to tell you the truth.
Well, I am sure that Sarah will explain everything once she reappears.
I hope
There's
so.
something I still don't get. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
This is the weird part of this. Based on the flashbacks, this is definitely what the right answer. Like, this is probably why. But I don't know if I totally want to spill that. This ain't the case. He's never gonna buy that.
Her not coming back to the manor after so long makes me wonder if she is wary of someone.
Well, certainly. But whom? The only ones who were present during her stay were Sir Gregory, Duchess Hillsborough, Mr. von Wollner, and myself.
Hmm.
And what about Mr. von Volmner? Do you know him well?
To be honest, not really. He's closer to Gregory. I'm not the one who invited him.
It is my understanding that he managed to form alliances with the right people at the right time.
Yes, apparently so.
It is my understanding that he didn't really get on with the previous Prussian monarch, Frederick II, the father of the current king.
But he was clever enough to position himself with his son, the current king of Prussia, Frederick William. The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
Ooh, that one.
You seem to know my mother very well, my lord. What did you talk about together?
Oh, as soon as we had a little free time, we liked to share points of view about practically any subject. We would find ourselves embarked on interminable discussions that could go from Monsieur Blanchard's flight in a hot air balloon to the Treaty of Jassy, or the adoption of the metric system in France last year, or even Mr. Eli Whitney's invention in the United States.
Ooh.
Ah, yes. His famous cotton gin. It was supposed to revolutionize cotton production in the United States.
It will revolutionize the world, Louis. The potential of this invention is much greater. Tomorrow, all industries will be switching to simple but large-scale production. Of that, I'm sure.
I'm surprised she didn't get you started on the Crusades. It was her favorite subject.
Are you joking? Sarah and I spent entire days together reliving them. It so happens that the Crusades are also my subject of predilection, especially the third. My ancestor distinguished himself brilliantly during the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Famous papal bull.
Mother lulled my childhood with tales of the Crusades. How Richard the Lionheart and Philip Augustus had to battle it out to achieve their ends.
My
And
erudition
how
is
Guy
paying
de Lusignan,
off.
having broken his word, launched the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Oh, I see Sarah's lessons have inspired new enthusiasts. Good on you, because not everyone can claim they know as much at your age. Your mother is a very well-read woman. You're quite lucky to have her as a model, Louis.
Yes, I know, but I'm still very worried.
I must admit, there are worse things to worry about now, Louis.
What do you mean?
Yes, please elaborate.
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hillsborough's twin sister. And she shot her with a pistol. Then,
So they
before
saw that.
Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon? Hang on. That means my vision on the wharf, it was actually happening inside the manor. Mother shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that?
That's
Excuse
happening
me,
at the same time.
But between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation, until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
She would shut herself away in a room we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant to open it.
Thank you.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime,
I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That's a very good
The room is
introduction to
just
Mortimer.
opposite Mortimer's study.
Like, they keep this nice veneer of intrigue and mystery about him. And then he's just so open and gentile when you actually meet him. It's a nice duality in the storytelling. So is it this room here? Is the box room? Yes. All right. Well, what have we got in here?
A cache.
Excellent.
There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is on to us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be?
It has to be Godoy.
Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there.
A little jelly.
Dante's Paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays.
Oh, it's down here.
What is this disc? Oh, that reminds me of the ones my mother collects. It's magnetic.
Right, so a magnetic... Ah, lodestone. What else have we got here?
St. Paul on the road to Damascus by Caravaggio.
Kind of interesting that they give you both options here.
A fierce opponent of the first Christians, St. Paul is suddenly struck by the call of Jesus Christ and converts. It's the best known conversion in Christian history, which teaches us that even enemies of Christ can be saved, and even become his greatest apostles after finding faith. From what I can recall, the account of his conversion could be found in the epistles to the Galatians, the Philippians, the Corinthians, and the Acts of the Apostles. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior.
Huh. What I got here? Ooh, a little caramelite water. Like it. And what's further on in here?
The door appears to be locked on the other side.
Oh, hey, that works.
I think I heard something fall to the ground. A metallic sound, like a key falling to the floor.
Well, I can just subterfuge it
sesame.
open.
It's open.
So loving having subterfuge.
A chest with the occult symbol representing air.
Ooh, difficulty 7. If I pop a little caramelite water, though... That was a couple golden elixirs and amber? Yeah.
A drawing of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel.
Interesting.
The New Testament.
Wait. Gospels and Acts of the Apostles? On... Okay, right at the beginning.
I guess I'll just come back later.
Yeah, I'll come back later, because I remember that was mentioned. I'm going to need to know what I need to know first. Oh, that should add a third book to my ability to read.
Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. Looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust.
Honey, I can't use. Okay.
Painting of St. Mark from the collection of the apostles by Guido Reni.
Okay, painting of St. Mark. Oh, here's something down here.
Amber crystals.
It's not a clue, but I'll take it.
St. John is known as the youngest of Christ's apostles.
Well, we often give credit to St. John for having written about the apocalypse in the last book of the Bible.
Okay. So that one's important.
St. Paul painted by Guido Reni.
Looks like a lot of them are Guido Reni.
There are burnt papers in the chimney.
One twist. Trust in my
There's a legible
faith
fragment left.
in the man with
Hey,
the sword.
I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is onto us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be?
Ah, that's what the right click's telling me about.
Be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there.
Right. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. What's this one?
St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior.
Okay, St. Paul. Is there any other clues I've gotten here? Okay, it doesn't mention all the other tidbits I got. I want to say, if I look at this book, Gospels and Acts of the Apostles. Well, St. John is just looking right. Oh, I have no idea. Back to the beginning. Analyze the book real quick.
This volume dates from the first edition of Gutenberg. It's the first book that was ever printed. The pages are covered in annotations in Latin, French, and Hebrew. Someone spent years studying this Bible.
Okay.
I guess I'll just come back later.
None of these guys have swords. I'd say they all have pens, actually. I'm looking at it, yeah. Except no, you. You've got a sword.
St. Paul painted by Guido Reni.
St. Paul. Okay. Corinthians?
For you are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's.
Corinthians. No, Corinthians. Oh, wait, no. Oh, man, there's going to be a lot of little options to go through if I can't narrow this down a bit further.
I guess I'll just come back later.
So we're looking at St. Paul. He's the one with the sword. Is there anything else?
Dante's Paradise.
Dante's Paradise.
Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays.
Might be a matter of just hard coding it. Yeah.
St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame.
Oh.
Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. I don't know, what does that mean? So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with the figure, maybe?
Okay. 11/2. This is Paul. Corinthians. No. Corinthians 2. 2:11. 2 and 11. To the Romans. 3:11. Close. Back. Beginning. 2. Opinions. No. Nope. Nope. No. By... Not St. Mark's. Nope, nope. Revelation...
I guess I'll just come back later.
Okay, that's St. Paul, right?
St. Paul painted by Guido Reni.
Yes. St. Paul 2:11. Part 2. I think that was close. Was no, none of those are right. Chapter 11, verse 11. It's a maybe. Check these two.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Oh, wait. A note from Mother is carefully folded between the pages here. What does it say?
Dear E, I'm glad you found this note. I was afraid the code of the two groups of pilgrims would mislead you. Pick up the package. You know where, and hide it where no one will find it. It's imperative. Awaiting your reply, hidden behind the youngest apostle.
What? The youngest apostle? What does Mother mean by that?
You. Scrutinize the frame.
Painting looks like it's been taken down recently. What was it my mother said? That she would wait for an answer hidden behind the apostle. Ah, of course. There's something written behind the painting. On the second day, the pilgrims will listen to the prophecy of the young apostle. They shall add 1 companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their rank. What does it mean?
S- 2, 1, 3?
On the second day, the pilgrims listened to the prophecy of the young apostle. The prophecy of the young apostle. That was John. And the prophecy mentioned is most likely the book of Revelations according to St. John.
Okay, Book of Revelations according to St. John. Revelation according to John. Probably one of these two.
And ye know that he was manifested to take away our sins, and in him is no sin.
Nope. John.
But he that hateth his brother is in darkness, and walketh in darkness, and knoweth not whither he goeth, because that darkness hath blinded his eyes.
No. Oh, Revelation 2 John. Okay. Before I go over
I guess
all
I'll just come
this,
back later.
let me just rethink about this a little bit. Code.
On the second day, the pilgrims listened to the prophecy of the young apostle. The prophecy of the young apostle. That was John. And the prophecy mentioned is most likely the book of Revelations according to St. John.
Book of Revelations according to St. John.
St. John is the only apostle painted in this gallery who hasn't got a beard. Hey, wait! That means it's him. He's the youngest apostle. Right. This painting is therefore associated with the answer which E had to give to my mother. Now, I just need to know how to recover the answer.
Okay. Revelation according to St. John. Okay.
Saying
we'll flip
with a
through these a
loud
bit.
voice, worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing.
Nope. Revelation to John.
And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And the
14.
woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times and a half a time, from the face of the serpent. Hey, a new note. It's been folded
There it
carefully in
is.
the corner of this page. The writing, it's not my mother's. S. I found the book in your effects. I've concealed it where no one can get their hands on it. I can assure you, awaiting your instructions, I will hear your reply like he who hears the angel. Hears the angel? What does that mean? Oh, it's probably the place where she was expecting to get the location of the next note.
Here's the note there. It's You're getting saved by an angel, right?
St. Paul on the road to Damascus by Caravaggio. This painting has been hanging here for a long time. A lot of dust is built up on it. Well, a finger has drawn a number in the thin layer of dust. I can read the number 4. St. Paul is the only saint to be presented twice in these paintings, contrary to the other apostles. How come? Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors, too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior.
So 424.
I guess I'll just come back later.
Maybe the other one of Paul will give me more insight. This him?
No, nothing of value here. It's too cumbersome for me to unhook here, but judging by the dust, it hasn't been moved for months, if not years.
All right.
There are finger marks, deliberately drawn in the dust. 8 in all.
Okay, got number 4, got number 8.
Little characters are engraved on the chest of drawers under the urn. It's a sentence in Hebrew.
Hebrew.
Choosing the Hebrew alphabet is no coincidence. It's got to be a reference to the Bible.
Of course. I think we're good. 4, 8. Hebrew. If only I knew anything about Bibles. Here we go. 4, 8.
Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things.
Not it. No, wait.
Thou hast put all things under his feet, for in that he put all in subjection under him. He left nothing that is not put under him. But
6, 8.
that which beareth thorns and briars is rejected, and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned.
Here's a message.
Ah, there it is.
There are some complications. Indeed, the Prussian is insistent. What's happening at your end? Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's say tomorrow evening, in the South Room, where we reviewed the situation. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to his left, in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him.
Yeah, this last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims near Paul.
Which Paul? There wasn't much to this one before.
St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. This painting has been hanging here for a long time. A lot of dust is built up on it. Well, a finger has drawn a number in the thin layer of dust. I can read the number 4.
Not much there. All mentions that there's 2 of him.
Several
here?
portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni.
Looks like someone touched this commode recently. Their fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust.
New apostles by the... New apostles by Paul, right?
Painting of St. Mark from the collection of the apostles by Guido Reni.
There's nothing worth noticing here.
Felt like this was gonna be it. What about you?
There's something else behind this painting. It says, half of each group will join the first city of Corinth. What the hell does that mean?
A group of pilgrims, if I'm not mistaken, numbered respectively 12 and 14 in the last painting. With the simple operation suggested, that would mean that the new groups are 6 and 7. Must be the group of pilgrims mentioned from before. I guess maybe the city of Corinth is a reference to the epistle from Corinthians in the Bible.
Right. Some Corinthians 6, 7. So Corinthians 6, 7.
Now, therefore, there is utterly a fault among you, because ye go to law with one another. Why do ye not rather suffer injustice? Why do ye not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded? Ah, look, here's a message.
That's the only clear one
It
I
is of
got.
paramount importance that no one finds it. Watch out for the Prussian. He's on the trail. Let's meet up. I'll leave it to you to organize the rendezvous. Not today. I'm unable to do it. In the meantime, I'll follow the first group to Mark, who will reveal the answer to them. And that first group of pilgrims, how many are there now? If I refer to the chapter I'm reading at the moment, 6.
Did not quite follow that last part. Okay. Communicate. Help. Night. 6, 7. I'll do it in the meantime. I'll follow you. Oh. Wait, I think I just gave it away. 6, 8.
I guess I'll just come back later.
Stop reading. Communicate, trust faith, yes. Epistles. Glad you found this notes, for the code, yep. John, I found the book and your effects, okay. Oh, there's no location, person assistant, what's happening in your end, yep. I'll leave the organized rendezvous, and today I'm going to do it. In the meantime, I'll follow the first group to Mark, who will reveal the answer to them. Corner St. Mark.
Then came together unto him the Pharisees, and certain of the scribes, which came from Jerusalem.
Nope. Odd. Acts of the Apostles.
Then they suborned men, which said, We have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and against God.
Well, actually, this thing. If 6, 6 for 7. If she follows them, that should mean there's 7 of them. I'm probably looking for chapter 7.
For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. And behold,
Unless she doesn't count
there
herself.
cometh one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jerus by name. And when he saw him, he fell at his feet.
Nope. Oops, no, not meant. Revelation of John. None of these are Mark. The only thing that's Mark is these.
And it came to pass in those days that Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee, and was baptized by John in Jordan. And as they did eat, Jesus took bread, and blessed it, and broke it, and gave it to them, and said, Take, eat, this is my body.
Okay. Clearly I'm not getting this. Able to do it in the meantime, I'll follow the first group to Mark. Help, if not possible, let's through the situation. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. Help, if it's not possible, let's say tomorrow evening, so through the situation. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. I wait confirmation to his left.
Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. Looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust. Little characters are engraved on the chest of drawers under the urn. It's a sentence in Hebrew.
Don't need that.
There's nothing worth noticing here. Painting of St. Mark from the collection of the apostles by Guido Reni. There are finger marks, deliberately drawn in the dust. 8 in all. No,
Candlestick?
nothing of value here.
Okay, maybe the other one of Mark. That's what I'm looking at, right? No, when Paul understood that only axe counted. Who are you?
St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. Strange. St. Paul is shown twice, unlike the other disciples.
Must be the last painting then.
St. Paul on the road to Damascus by Caravaggio. St. Paul is the only saint to be presented twice in these paintings, contrary to the other apostles. How come?
There's a 4 here. There's nothing over there. Is it Matthew? Okay, when Paul understood that only acts counted, he went back on his tracks. Wait confirmation to his left in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him. Already did that one. Thessalonians.
Honor thy father and thy mother, as this is the first commandment.
Thessalonians. No.
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness.
Nope. Oh, this might be the hard one. Apostles.
Then they suborned men, which said, We have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and against God.
Okay. Tonight's not possible. So Paul 2 out of 2. Hebrews 6, 8. There's some complications. Indeed, the Prussian is insistent. What's happening at your end? Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's say tomorrow evening in the south room. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. Wait confirmation to his left in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him. Just wish I knew which pilgrims joined him.
St. Paul on the road to Damascus by Caravaggio.
Examine the painting just tells me the command of black. Examine the frame gives me the number 4. Translation of the same saint. There's nothing there.
St. Paul painted by Guido Reni.
Face the same saint.
St. Paul is shown holding a sword.
Yes.
Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. I don't know, what does that mean?
Secret code's not helping me. Your mark. You are not useful yet. You got that.
On the second day, the pilgrims will listen to the prophecy of the young apostle. They shall add 1 companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their rank. What does it mean?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. So there's nothing hidden in here. Just seems weird that that's there. Okay. I did 6, 8. Counted, he went back on his tracks. Wait confirmation to his left. I might just hit all the things of Paul. Galatians. It's Rome. Okay, I'm almost certain none of these, because it's definitely going on about St. Paul. Okay. I just gotta read all the ones from St. Paul. Oh, this is gonna be a while.
There is none that understandeth. There is none that seeketh after God.
Romans.
Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for all have sinned.
Dear E, I'm glad you found this note. I was afraid the code of the two groups of pilgrims would mislead you. Pick up the package. You know where, and hide it where no one will find it. It's imperative.
Oh, wait, I go back to 6-8 and have him say it again?
The youngest apostle.
What? The youngest apostle? What does Mother mean by that?
I already figured that out. We both know that. Go to Hebrews. 6-8.
There are some complications. Indeed, the Prussian is insistent. What's happening at your end? Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's say tomorrow evening, in the South Room, where we reviewed the situation. When Paul understood that only the acts counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to his left, in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him.
Yeah, this last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims near Paul.
Find new pilgrims near Paul. Right.
Dante's Paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays.
What am I missing? Clearly something. Okay, that's Paul, that's Paul. Still can't believe it's
Several
not
portraits
this.
of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. Looks like someone touched this commode recently. Their fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust.
Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 paintings here? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's this specific one? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I'm looking for verse 6. Just left. Okay, let's need this again.
There are some complications. Indeed, the Prussian is insistent.
Do wish I could skip
What's
text a
happening at your
little
end?
here.
Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's say tomorrow evening, in the South Room, where we reviewed the situation. When Paul understood that only the acts counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to his left, in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him.
Yeah, this last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims near Paul.
Can't leave the room, can I? No. Of course not. New pilgrims near Paul.
St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. St. Paul is the only saint to be presented twice in these paintings, contrary to the other apostles. How come?
nothing to the left of either of these guys.
St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. Strange. St. Paul is shown twice, unlike the other disciples.
You're no use.
A drawing of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel.
Thou
I have
hast
no
put
idea.
all things under his feet, for in that he put all in subjection under him. He left nothing that is not put under him.
There are some complications. Indeed, the Prussian is insistent. What's happening at your end? Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's see tomorrow evening, in the South Room, where we reviewed the situation. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to his left, in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him.
Yeah, this last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims near Paul.
But there's nothing left to look at. The only new pilgrims is this.
Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. Looks like someone touched this commode recently. Their fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust.
But that's it. And they're empty. Yeah, a couple of those are empty. Left, accompanied the pilgrims that joined him. Ooh, I'm a vampire. Let's see. Not those. Nothing here. That's Dante. That's the original. I feel like I've looked at everything. Like I've used each painting for a code so far. Well, I am stuck. Nothing in this fireplace. Right. Well, I'm going to put a break in it here and mull over this for a bit, and I'll catch you on the next part. Until then, bye for now.